Yeah, well, Prof here, and we just shot a video for you guys on those guys over there, Spirit Rendezvous and the 9 Miles album, as well as some others that were in the big old bubble rack stack. Well, rack stack? Bubble wrap stack. Well, what's left is the vinyl. And I know there are some vinyl lovers out there, and realistically, it's 3 chunks, right? 3 chunks, and we'll go over that. The real gem is the thing that I'll have to check on that in a bit. We got 4 minutes left for this transfer, and I gotta start another one. This is the real gem right here. TK from Ling, Sigure, Brain Films Vinyl Edition, 1 of 1,000, and I got my hands on one. Oh jeez, I gotta get a drink. I'm getting thirsty having to talk to you guys all this time. And I think I left it upstairs. One second. Had to get my leftover Pocari sweat from work. Ugh. That's the stuff. Let's see, ping me in Discord. Yeah, there's a huge update on that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Apparently, season 4 broadcast starts April of this year, and it's going to be 5 cores. That means the arc that they're calling season 4 is actually 5 seasons. Now they're saying split cores. I don't know if they're just split on the seasons or for production reasons they may be split not back to back. They may be like April, skip season, etc. Or if they're going straight through. Hot damn. That's like as many episodes as there already was, which is crazy. So let's give you guys a 2x zoom here, and we'll kind of take a little sneaky peek as to what came in. So this is used, you can see by the label in the upper right corner, and I'm gonna have to get used. This was exclusive, I think exclusive to HMV. If not, it's exclusive as in 1,000 copies total out there used. Paid 9,900 yen. Was originally 75.90. That's an awfully specific amount. So I've done this before with some of the really limited stuff, some of the stuff that's even not for sale, where it gets sold actually. You know, the fact they have it at all is kind of what you're paying for. And you would be surprised what gets traded and used at HMV. Holy shit. You've seen some of my Zazen Boys stuff that like it was never produced for sale, and that would have probably been a gem in somebody's collection, and either they passed, needed money, who knows, right? So that's a big one in here. But before we teased you, before we take a look at that, what we do have is the latest 2 releases from Bloodthirsty Butchers. We have No Album, which was their last one, which is don't remember if it's incomplete or if it was just never released. I forget. Or if they completed it and never named it. There's something around that. I should know my discography history better, right? There you go. You got, looks like lyrics of all the tracks. This is the OB. I talked about that in our one, and it perfectly lines up the art. Sometimes it's like blatant. On the Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra re-releases, it had like all the album number, blah, yada yada, to make them all look the same. Like, and the stripes kind of matched, but it was like a similar. They didn't match in this way, where that blends in perfectly, right? It would match in the way of like they would never all be the same color, but they all be the same theme, so they match each other. Not the album art like this does. Sort of like this one, where it's like black on yellow and black. This one they made so it would blend on in. And I don't know that we have anything special. Nope. Just a black vinyl. They generally keep it simple. So, all of that's gonna, I hate those, like these half circle ones. Blech. Vomiting. The feel of them, they always fold over. This came folded over. Nah, give me the square ones that are either parchment or paper reinforced any day. Those actually hold their shape. You can already tell this is puffing up because you can't hear it from there probably. I'm not getting up. It's like, and there's no way to get it in cleanly because the round part on the bottom wants to like go all sorts of jank. For those wondering, those that do PC video gaming, please go and update your NVIDIA app, and you have to change the DLSS override to recommended. That will enable DLSS 4.5 for free. Do be aware, by default, it does only apply to performance and ultra performance modes, so give them a shot. But it's a free upgrade, huge performance increase. Well, actually, if you have 20 and 30 series, performance decrease because they don't have the exact type of compute that is optimized for. Performance increase on 4050, quality increase. Actually, I think I don't want to say performance increase. Performance increase would come because you can use like performance instead of balanced. That's where their performance increase can come. But what they did with the model, it's the L and the M model, is they trained it on much higher resolution, like say 16K images with ultra max settings, effectively, right? If not greater, like we're talking seconds per frame instead of frames per second, if not minutes per frame in some cases. So that's, you can potentially get better than native quality or better than what you would have originally rendered because it's actually trained on higher than you would ever render, locally at least. So this is 2025 11.4. Remember how I said I was putting these together, and this was also 2025 11.4. So I somewhat mentioned that, like, hey, basically from middle of November, bada bing bada boom, through to like just past being in January, I was getting these purchased and forwarded. I don't want to pull this one out too far. It is also just a standard black vinyl because it's going to make it all weird shaped. And yes, I literally have a stack, I've showed it before, behind you, of ones. And there's a place I prefer to get that was recommended by Snazzy Labs, and I agree. They are by far the best inner and outer sleeves for vinyl that I've ever seen. Buy those, they're worth it. However, they're regularly out of stock. And so I had enough vinyl where, yeah, I just tore this outer sleeve. That's how thin they are. Like, the stuff they give you, if you're somebody that actually uses your vinyl. Like, it actually wants to pull it out and handle it, etc. Replace your sleeves. Because, like, I personally can't stand those non-reinforced, semi-rounded ones. They always turn in there. They always bunch up. They never, even one of them came bunched up, right? And outer sleeves, like that one just tore. The quarter just tore, and that's a double one, which means those are a little bit more rounded on the edge. It's not like the standard single ones that are really pointy. You might see some of those here. You might not as well. And the Paisley, if I could take the camera down now, she is, because I took away a lot of the stuff in the IKEA for her to rummage around in using drawers. I haven't filled the drawers with stuff yet. She is now going in the places where she's not supposed to, with like the receiver and the computer, etc. Being a kitten, that's for sure. Yeah, and then you surprise yourself because you knock shit over. All right, so if you notice, the pillows, this has really world's even cheaper, I want to say, than Bloodthirsty Butcher. Outer sleeves, just replace them. It's well worth the money if they're at all collectible and you at all use them, because like handling and yeah, like that was half of my frustration was like, oh, you got to take it out, then you got to get it back in, then you got to good inner and outer sleeves take care of it. You actually want to use it. Okay, so we have Good Dreams, right? I don't even know. I don't think these are in order of release, but these are I believe all of the King Records Pill Zones. Now, the final one of these came out not that long ago, I want to say. Let me get this other transfer started really quick. Not that long ago. So, what did I just do? This one. I don't remember when I started that. Boom. Start 16 at 00 50. Okay. Paste end at. If you're wondering why I gotta stay on these, is we're transferring hundreds of gigabytes, right? And it turns out that takes a while. Even from other drives, like moving data, that much data around on hard drives, period. It just takes a hot minute. I gotta stay on it, otherwise I'm never gonna get my Honorate server back up and being useful. I mean, it could be turned on right now. It's just the data arrangement on the drives is all cocked up. Oh, no, it's just messy. That's why I had to rebalance it, because the drives got over 90%. And you're like, well, why is that an issue? Well, performance on any drive, I would say more so on SSDs, but still, it's still a thing with hard drives. Significantly, actually. And then what ended up happening is, because it's so short on space, it's not being smart about where it's putting it. It's just putting it where fucking ever. Which meant there's like a couple hundred megabytes of stuff over there, a couple gigs of stuff over there, 30 to 60 gigs over there, when other drives have terabytes. So I need to move it. I need to move the data, and like kind of, first off, I had to get all the drives under 90%. Once I had done that, I could do some organization with that, but then what happened from there is then I cleaned it up more. Like, once the drives were below 90%, like I was only doing, when they were above that, I was doing probably 75 megabits per second max. Now we're hitting upwards of 250, which is about the max of what a hard drive will do. Disk 8 to disk 9. So it legitimately does significantly help. A lot of threads online are like, no, just let it figure itself out. You pop a new drive in, it'll balance it out. The problem is if you let stuff get over 90%, I think even that, you're better off taking some load off some of the other drives. Otherwise, you're going to have this unbalanced performance depending on what drive it's writing to as well. If you're not as you don't care as much as I do, it may be easier to do, right? And what I mean by that is, like, I'm probably over, prior to the current amount of organization I'm doing, it was already rebalanced, right? Like all the big drives were around 83% full. Great job from 90. Did a great job. But then I saw a lot of these were what do you want to say, like a lot of these folders could, now that we have room to move around, I could kind of like organize and resort them to make more sense and to make accessing them easier and better. Or if I were to lose data, I know more likely what's on one drive versus another, etc. Eventually these might be on a drive because I can rip vinyl to DSD, which is about as good as it gets for recording. Not that my turntable itself is actually that amazing, I would say. The pillows, we'll get it to. The latest album that they did came out 2025 9/16, so it wasn't that long ago. No, not screenshot. Hold on here. We need to do a translation, and yes, finally, even in Firefox ESR, translation has come. Originally, it didn't include Japanese. It didn't come to ESR until it had Japanese, actually, which is great. Late works of their King Records albums. So it's Another Morning, Another Pills to My Foot. 35 years and 4 months of history. Announced the dissolution. Yep. February 1st, I thought it was 2 years ago. No. It was last year in February. And then that's when all of the let me grab my laptop here. I don't need the charger. It's been on charge for a while. To the pillows, discography. Kitten has been walking on my laptop. The pillows, discography, label. We want Discogs. Hold on here. Discogs is usually pretty good about this because they'll do them in order. We can do albums. 29. I have 11 of them. Pony Canyon. King Records is Cool Spice through My Foot. Wake up, wake up. Yeah, because they went to Avex Tracks, starting with Wake Up, Wake Up, and Pied Piper, Horn Again. So I don't think that, yep, and then with Stroll and Roll, they actually went to their own label, Delicious label. And then that went all the way through to rebroadcast the last one, 2018, that I went out and saw them on a tour on. So yes, I doubt we will ever get, unless the other labels want to do what was done here by King Records. And I've seen that before where, what do you want to say, like, for the Ghibli movies, G-Kids did them all. Well, one or two of them were, like, Sentai had Tokyo Godfathers until recently. Not Tokyo Godfathers. The other one. The little kid bomb Hiroshima one. It'll probably hit me later. but they actually made the steelbook match the other releases. So there is a chance that the other ones could get re-released by the other labels. They would have to want to do it. It seems like this was a thing that was done by King over time. I had no clue. I think I was on the Pillows page for the 9 Miles new album, and I saw something from another announcement, like latest release 2025, that was the only one prior to this, is the My Foot release of the vinyl. And realistically, it seems like the pillows themselves were not part of these releases because they're done by King Records, and they like slowly trickled out. Here's the thing: they're only on one page on King Records' website about this re-release. They're supposed to be limited. Another Morning, Another Pillows. That's September. Yeah, here, that was September 16, 2025. Both of those were. Then prior to that, it was October 8th, 2022 for the 12th album. Then A Penalty Life was at the same time. Making My Twilight in 21 alongside Smile, which is the one that the friend I went to go see them live with gave me their copy of that they had found. I think it's signed too. From when we not first met, probably the first concert we went to for the Pillows. And I was like, oh, dude, you do not have to give that to me. I do not deserve, So it goes 5th album through 13th album, I think. That does not seem like enough. Maybe I got some that they no longer carry. I went through and bought every single one they would sell me. So the first one should be Cool Spies. Do we have that one here? The first one it says on the page is Please Mr. Losman. But let's go. Okay, so Fool on the Planet, Smile. There you go. There's Please Mr. Losman. Happy Bovak. There's the latest one right here, My Foot, and that is a banger of an album. I think it was actually the popularity of this album that made them switch lips, or allowed them to. Penalty Life, Little Busters. Having this album art and this big, this quality is ridiculous. Seriously. Another Morning, Another Pillows, Thank You, My Twilight, and Runner's High. Like, I wouldn't even say to my child, when does child come through? But through my high school years, their initial albums from Fully Cooley. Basically, they gave the director of Fully Cooley just like, here's our entire discography, use what you want. And he even came back and said like, I'm really looking for this for the opening and ending and for some of these other parts. Then they wrote him songs for it. They wrote him songs. That's. So first up, we've got Please Mr. Losman with Stalker, Trip Dancer, Moon Is Mine. Very well. Spanky Street, Suicide, Diving, Girls Don't Cry, and Please Mr. Losman. Let's take a peek at what. So on this side is a 1. This specific one is a singular LP. But it's in a double LP jacket, probably because they're wanting to keep consistent and they knew that other ones would required. I may be wrong, we'll find out. Also, here's another thing that happens with these. There's not enough play in them, so what I normally want to do is I want to dip in the open side with the double, and then push in this side. There's barely enough. And you have to make sure you get it in straight, otherwise this pointy side, like it did on one of those Bloodthirsty Butchers ones, will just next up, we saw it before, was Bloodthirsty here. Very iconic album art. Also a single LP. And they are saying album mix, album version. And that is because the Pillows were very well known. They've kind of followed that model that a lot of Japan band. I mean, like even the US, I want to feel like it's ever since like the Spotify era that's kind of changed. But compared, like people have done singles and then do an album, but like I feel like Japan does that different. Like sometimes they'll have multiple singles and EPs leading up to an album. And you know, like that's where you get B-sides, because those are the singles or the songs that are on the singles that don't make it to the album. That's generally a B-side. I feel like I didn't see that with a lot of the bands that I was listening that were US based in like, what do you want to say, the mid to late 2000s and early 2010s and that sort of stuff. The Pillows very much did that. Other bands that I listen to, I'm trying to think of that do that sort of thing. TK does that with his stuff, and so a lot of his albums are just compilations of singles. There's other ones that are popping into my head that I don't think it might be Bump a Chicken, where they'll do like four single tracks, and 1 to 2 of those will be on the album. Then there's going to be 2 generally that are B-sides. Then you'll often get a music video of the one that they intend to be the big one. You know. So yeah, I was right. Runner's High. I know the Pillows discography. Oh, I don't know if I showed you the back. There's the front with the, I was gonna say tiger. My brain, man. Lion. Eating ice cream cone. They're always just chilling. I don't know, I always felt like the Pillows were always like, they were proper rockers, proper rock and roll. Always seemed like they did not care what was going on. A lot of, and I know these photo shoots, actually, I've seen the one for, especially the Predators, which is kind of like a spinoff. They're like super, not like overshot, but super posed. But they always kept them like, nah, man, you know, we're just after our concert, going to our concert, taking the train. You know? Runner's High, another very iconic album art with Buster. That's his name, the bunny. There you go. You got your leather jackets with your sunglasses, very 90s. This is 2018. But what is the original release date? 99. Hey, called it. Yeah, that's getting into Matrix era. Oh, by the way, we didn't go over tracks here. Instant Show, Another Morning, One Life, That House, Like a Love Song, Nowhere, Hybrid Rainbow. Oh my gosh, Blue Drives Monster, so heavy, so good. Patricia, Black Sheep, Little Busters, bangers. You've watched Fooly Cooley, Fooly Cooley. One take on Fooly Cooley. It's one of many, like 5+. But one of the main 3, I would say, is effectively what it ended up was a amazing music video for the Pillows. Like it ingrained, like they couldn't have shown it off any better. Sad Kitty, oh so good. Instant Music, Juliet, White Ash, Paper Triangle, Brand New Love Song, know that one very well. Midnight Down. I want to say, I might be wrong here, I think in Beck, that band may have played a version of that. I'm trying to remember. Runner's High, let's see if that's true or not. Runner's High is huge track in Fooly Cooley. But yeah, and that is a downside of this is all of and why they actually had to re-record. They had to pull similar things. Are there others where when the new seasons of Fooly Cooley came out, they couldn't give permission to use them anymore because they're not at that label, and King Records controls it, right? So they actually re-recorded all of the tracks. Another one for me with a very iconic art. Happy Bovak, 8th album. Full album name is Happy Bovak on the Hilary Step. I've actually never even... See, this is things that even albums I'm very familiar with. Or maybe I knew that long ago and just dismissed it. That's very 2000s, if you can see that picture on the back there. But Happy Bovak, Rush, Last Dinosaur, Carnival, huge, huge. Crazy, Love and Peace, and Crazy Sunshine, Backseat Dog, Kim Deal, Funny Bunny. Hearing that in concert in I think it was 2007 when they toured, when I last saw them. Or not last time, I saw them in 2018 as well, but when I originally saw them live, Funny Bunny comes on, wrecks it. Beautiful Morning with You, and Advice. Another decently hard, distortion heavy track. A lot of early pills that you're seeing right here, there are differences in tone in their albums. Full Planet's next way down here. It changes a lot more prior to these. And at one point, they even had a fourth member who dropped out because they thought they weren't going anywhere. But Fool on the Planet. Is this a double? I think this is a double. Yeah, this is actually a double. Yep, side A, side B, side A, side B. Fool on the Planet, Swanky Street, I Think I Can, killer. Instant Music, killer. Trip Dancer, killer. One Life, Climbing the Roof, Midnight Down Again. Carnival. Let's see, Little Busters, huge. Ryan Shooting Star. That is the track from Fooly Cooley. Naked Shuffle, another great track. Funny Bunny. That Strange Chameleon. That one, oh, good. This album here, Hybrid Rainbow, Fool on the Planet. I don't know that it's necessarily a compilation because it's got a bunch from their earlier, smaller, shorter albums. But killer. Smile. This is the one that I said I have a signed copy that was originally a close friend's, and he decided to gift it to me. And we've ripped it. The disc itself is in rough condition. Turns out, when you're a kid, you maybe don't take care of things as good as you might now. Smile, with the Fire Bell on there. Another very iconic album cover for them. Good Morning, Good News, Waiting at the Bus Stop. All the Way to the Edge of the Road, Monster CC, Skim Haven, Winning Code Back, Vain Dog, In Pain Drop. That's a good track there. Fun, okay. What is it? Thunder, Whale, Picnic, Everyday Song. That's not a big one. Smile, Keller. I'm actually, Good Morning, Good News is one I'm very familiar with. Listen to a lot, know it. But it's the second half, is the B-side of this album that I know actually better than the A-side. So they've definitely aged in this album. And this is only 2001 when it came out compared to the others. We've got Thank You My Twilight, and then it's going to be Twilight. There you go, is Life Delicious, because they have their Delicious album thing later on. They have different iconography. A lot of it's right at the bottom of here. Because this is around the time where 9 Miles hits a start. That's the thing. That's their Delicious label. That's Buster, King Records. So they've got a lot of. Actually, I just realized all of this too here. That's all the tracks. Or it's either the tracks or it's track titles or it's lyrics. What was interesting is listening to the Pillows, and because a lot of the Japanese bands that made it to the U.S. that came to me first were obviously English language or English sung. So, and it really did seem like for the longest time the Japanese bands didn't think they made it, or didn't think they made it big or huge until they had songs with just like random English lyrics in it. That you'll see that with a lot of anime openings. And that was very like the Pills in a lot of cases were just straight. I mean, there's Japanese, but a lot of their songs are just straight English. Rain Brain, Biscuit Hammer, Babylon Verses of Angel. That's an interesting track. My Beautiful Son, Irene. That's a fairly recognizable track. The Irene part. Come On Ghost. Those two go hard back to back. They always do a very good. If I recall, the producer of, not producer as in like the producer of the act. That'd be the lead singer. He actually produces a ton of other artists, not even at their label. Very well known for being a very big producer. But music, well, the music producer comes off the same way. Like producing the actual music, like mixing, producing, that sort of stuff, that's all done by the lead guitarist. He's always done a very good job. Riddling 202, that's a great track. White Summer and Green Bicycle, Red Hair with Black Guitar. Winona, Thank You My Twilight, that's a huge track on here. Rookie Jet, and Winona is pretty recognizable as well on there. What else we got next? Penalty Life. This is where it comes. Like, you start seeing pretty commonly the three of them on a lot of the front of these. There's actually it's actually a 4-piece band, but they never took on a 4th member officially. The bassist, when I saw him in 2018, actually I saw another band that I think he either leads. I think he leads. But he had been with them for most of their career. This is definitely getting into like, what do you want to say, like Powerpuff Girls stylization of animation there. Like that era, and it is very much of that time period. We're up to 2003 now. Dead Stock Paradise, banger track. Love Some Diamond, Phoebe Honey, another good track. Terminal Heavens Rock, really, really good track. The Sun Will Not Rise, Phantom Pain, I Know You, Moon Marguerite, Super Trampoline School Kid, Mole Town Prisoner, The Scar Whispers, Nobody Is in Paradise. So, let's take Good Dreams. That was actually the one you guys saw first, with the fork that is floating. There you go, 3 of them again. You can now tell lead singer there. Um, lead guitarist, drummer. Always with the shades on the drummer, dark shades. Xavier walking on a spiral, that's a huge one. Now we start getting into Japanese tracks. There are English translations for those. I just don't remember what they are. New Year's Eve, Bad Dreams, Good Dreams, Rosy Head. Walking on a Spiral is like, there's a reason why it's track number 2 on this. Walking on a Spiral. Another Morning, Another Pillows. This is another double here. This one's not open. A lot of the other ones were not adhered shut. This would have been the second last one of these, because then you get My Foot. The B-sides, Another Morning, Another Pillows. So that's why you have, okay, remember, we had Thank You, My Twilight, the 3 guys. B-sides, Another Morning, Another Pillows. Right? Women. 3 of them. She Is Perfect, Wonderful Sight, Sleepyhead, Yellow Beans, Skeleton Lair. That's actually like a really good Nightmare. Another one, Come Down. Yep. I don't know. I'm often a fan of B-side tracks. Back, I listen to Killers too. I forget which album was their B-sides album. Really like that one though too. Lesser Hands in the Blue, Ninny, great track as well. Subhuman. We have a theme song, Going Down, great track. Spiky Goose, decent track as well. Scent of Sweet, also a very good track. Curly Rudy, good track. Stalker Goes to Babylon, super heavy, no vocals, just down dirty. One of my favorite tracks from their earlier discography. Cherry, Plastic Flower, Beautiful Picture, I Want to Live Like That. So, a lot of these tracks I know and like, and like, cause they're like in B-sides, like in between tracks on them, but they actually they use them to transition to other songs in the album. And they like, I don't know, they resonate with me, And then the last one that King probably is going to come out with, I would imagine. I will try. I have this page bookmarked. I'm just gonna have to refresh every couple months. It doesn't say they're not producing anymore, but I don't know which ones they would also still have a license for. Otherwise, hey, the Pills, I know you're not all that active, but maybe work with your other labels, get the other ones out in vinyl. I would love to have a full discography. I know these aren't anything. It's not like the 180 grams, super heavy, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I'd prefer to have like a full-on analog remaster, etc. It's not what these are necessarily. My Foot, this whole album is 2026 315. What? I don't know where the 2026 315 comes from on here. Came out 2025 916 though. Interesting what the 2026 315 is. In Japan, yada yada yada. You can even see like the format of this is very different. But My Foot, killer. Rock and Roll Center is pretty good. Air La Sister and Third Eye, huge. Mighty Lovers, Nonfiction, huge. Degeneration, pretty darn big. March of the God, amazing. My Girl, I think that was another top one. So Long Universe, Gazelle City, pretty sure that was another top 10. 5 of the tracks on here were top 10 tracks. I mean, this is they liked this enough that the Predators spun off to do this sound. Not with all the members, but the lead singer liked it. What especially the lead guitarist likes doing is you maybe stick with a genre or that style of rock or that writing style or that sort of stuff for 1, maybe 2 albums than you. So what they did here is because this one was so popular and he liked it so much, the Predators is basically like an entire band. Now some of that stuff has changed a little bit as some of their members have changed, but I think also like maybe it was a guitarist or drummer had stood in at a live concert at some point, and he's like, "Oh, I really enjoyed playing that style," and they're like, "All right, well, you in? Let's go do it." And they were. It was like a super group in a way too, because it was all their big bands that were uh, like coming together. So check out if you like the My Foot album, listen to the Predators. That's what I'm saying. Now that we've gotten through the entire discography, at least from King Records, for the Pillows, some might say that's all you need. Um, some of their stuff prior to that, I will say, like the actual like early '90s stuff, it is a much different tone. It's of the era, whereas I think most of what you just saw is uh, it's called timeless. You know, like it is. You know, after two, I mean, when you have like five, I want to say three of the five were number ones too. It's something like stupid. Here we have a laptop here. Let's Wikipedia it because I'm sure it's in there. The Pillows wiki. The Pillows. Return for their North American shoot in support of 5 foot. Blah 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 blah. That's that one. That's the one I got sold them CD. I actually have the CD for it. Domestic sales of their singles over the past 4 years. So yes, Genion had U.S. sales. A My Foot tour, Gazelle City, Third Eye. How many on here were like just stupid? Yeah, explain this element emphasizes a combination of simple sounds, particularly through use of twin guitar. Like, and that's generally not what they're going for. And often he'll play backup on the other stuff, or even bass, depending. The Pillows, My Foot album, like this is in the era too of like when Green Day's American Idiot album had like something like 3 of 5 top 10s as well in there. Yep. Somebody reviewing it like basically if the My Foot album was touched up anywhere, they wouldn't work. That was a 3.5 on readers. That's what I don't care about that. I might have to look at the wiki. Let's go to Japan Wikipedia. Japan Wikipedia is a different. It's not just like Wikipedia in Japanese, by the way, for those wondering. It's a different beast. Often like different enough formatting too. It's like similar. It's like you're in a slightly different world. As you are. let's see. First phase. Bassist Kenji Ueda envisioned a formation of a band. He's the one that left. Second period, the Pillows were punk rock. 96. Third period, third generation. B-sides and collections. We went over that. O Parts is previous to that. We go into '16th album, O Parts, June 2013, rehabilitation of the band, blah blah blah. Monabe, first album, Rutile, yep, Rutile from Monabe, that's their lead guitarist, really good. It's like just guitar, an entire album. Very well done. Are these like highest order kind of chart? The single didn't get that high apparently. Was it the album? Maybe I'm being dumb and forgetting stuff. If I recall though, there were many tracks on this that did very many well. Finding stuff nowadays, yeah, pop sense. There's a reason why these really popped off, and why they made a whole band out of it. Also, a reason why a lot of and I'm guessing a lot of it in the lead guitarist wasn't too they could and did make an entire band out of it, and decent successful one to still be around now, even as just a side hustle for them. Yeah, because they all had other bigger bands to be in. But that's not what, I guess, when you've been around that long and you're that popular already, that you want to do. Yeah, it might be like what some bands are fine with doing, but I guess usually every 1 to 2 albums they would kind of I say 1 to 2, like there'd be some from a previous album in a future one at most. So this still has its original outer sleeve here with its original stickers. This is the Brain Films vinyl edition, 1 of 1,000. Originally, these tracks and Daylily, Sound AM 326, Brain Films version, Introduction, Like a Moment, Snow Flurry, Toiki, Prologue, Whisper, Epilogue, 5 Lies, and Calipopo? Question mark? Oh, there's disc too. Disc side A and B, and then there's in here disc side A and B, which is Unravel, Instrumental for 10th Anniversary, Popeye, Planet Triangle. Oh, is this like disc 1 and disc 2? Interesting way of doing it. So disc 1 is here, disc 2 is here. Unravel, Instrumental for 10th Anniversary, that's why this came out. Popeye, Planet Triangle, Ethereal Mix, Rhythmless Mix, interesting. Acoustic Installation, which is that's a track. Grant and Secret Sense. They say disc. Do they mean disc? I'm pretty sure this is fully analog. Unless there's something that I don't. Once again, though, it's sticky on here, not on flap. That's why when those T-shirts that are very limited edition came the other way, I was, So here we go. A lot of these, if not all of them, are probably photos that TK himself took. There you guys go. Yeah, I don't know why they're saying disc. That is vinyl. Very much so. Vinyl. There you go. TK Brain Films Vinyl Edition. And when they say vinyl edition, up until very, very recently when they released it on streaming, there was no, oh, let's open this way so I didn't put it back. By the way, guys, when you put these back, I see people put the inner sleeve like this to match this. That way you don't have to take the inner sleeve out and then take it out. Like you don't have to take this out and then take it out of the inner sleeve. It's gonna fall out if you do that. There's a reason why they layered them back and forth, back and forth. So you want the opening up. And on the sleeves that I will replace it actually has like an up arrow on it. And yes, it crinkles and it doesn't go in as well. That's why you replace your sleeves. He wants to tip and turn this way and then cut off this corner. But if you put it this way, it wants to cut it. It's bad sleeves are bad, okay? But if you do it like they have it here, where you can pull the vinyl straight out, you don't want that. Because it'll just, if you like this, it'll literally just yeet itself out. So, there is, that looks like evergreen of some kind. Red. This reminds me of one of the other limited items I have where he includes like 35 photos he took. Very much in that same vibe. Like I said, I'm super pumped to have this because I was trying to get it. I think they didn't allow international shipping on this too, which may have pampered me. So I had to forward it, and maybe I didn't have it set up yet. Now I have to forward everything because HMB, because they use EMS, and EMS, due to the tariffs, EMS is just like, yeah, we're not dealing with them. So I have to, even though, there you go, number right there, 356 in gold, stamped. Had to pay a little bit more than brand new to get it. Still, as you saw, used in Japan. This with its outer sleeve. Now, I have not inspected the actual vinyl. I really don't want to right here, right? But I haven't actually opened. When I re-sleeve it, I will probably take a closer look. They're saying that's a C. So unless I see some damage on the vinyl or something, which I really hope I don't. But yeah, I should take a quick peek. There's a little dust, no scratches, a couple hairs. That'll come right out. I do have one that actually has a scratch, and it wasn't available new. It was a 9mm deep blue album. I had to buy it used. So I have 2 copies now. But my original has a scratch in it somehow. I don't know if it came that way and I didn't catch it because I should have returned it if it did, right? This one looks like it's never been played. There's no dust on there. Same thing with this side. I don't know that number 2 has ever been out. And yes, you can clean them at some point. Probably if I record them. I mean, I have in the past, but like, when you record DSD, even with my setup, which is like the Sony one that can record straight to it, anything that's on the surface, you can pick up on the digital recording, which kind of takes away from it. So maybe I have to invest in a vinyl cleaner. They make some real ghetto ones that are basically like you giving your vinyl a bath in the sink, and they make some automated ones where you can put it in there and come back, and it'll be done. But I still do have a sticky roller. It's like a silicone roller that you can wash off, and it kind of picks up all the small stuff. And then there's an anti-static brush that I also have. I got two or three of those. I bought a bigger roller because the smaller ones that they were using were fine for singles. your 45s, right? But not for these bigger ones here. Oh, you gotta lift the legs. There's enough vinyl there, you gotta lift with your legs. Holy jeez. Well guys, hopefully you enjoyed this. I'm about to sit down. I probably not even gonna open up the other box that came in tonight. If you didn't see that in the previous video, this guy came in from Neowin, which is Sigure Japan. Didn't even know it shipped yet, actually, much less had tracking. This one came FedEx, because that was the option that Sigure Japan had that I could prepay tariffs for. So this is coming up next. It'll finish off some of what you've seen here, as well as what's in there is a lot of the new stuff from middle of last year until January, early January. And there's another one of these that'll come late March probably, which will have February and March stuff. So if you guys are interested in this, please subscribe. Hopefully I showed off some interesting stuff, had some interesting commentary. If you guys have any questions, especially comments, you know, do you like these artists? Other artists that you like and why? You know, let me know. How did I start collecting these? Is because just like that 9 miles one in the previous episode right there, the only way to get that is to physically import it. And when I got into this, minus putting on your hat, the only way to get this stuff legally, right, was physically importing a physical good from Japan. So, and still stuff like that. Once again, 1 of 1,000. I'm super, super duper happy I tracked it down. Was having a small heart attack while I was unboxing this, and I didn't see it. Now, they said it was in there. I'm sure it was, but it was, like you saw the vinyls got reordered and stuff like that, and some of it was mixed in. So, whew. So, most of these are already re-sleeved over here, but I'm going to be taking that stack up, putting it there, and my sleeves are in those two now. This is a new one that I haven't even opened, but I'm out of, I think, inner sleeves. Might be outer sleeves. But there's outers for the double thick ones. Those are called oversized. And then standard ones have a single. I actually use a lot more oversized because I buy fancy. If I'm going to buy it, and most likely if they're going to reissue it lately, they're going to reissue the fancy pants ones. You know, ideally the 180 gram remastered analog to analog, like all the Blanky Jet City releases and stuff like that. So that's the version I'm going to get, of course, right? Hopefully we'll see you in future videos and you enjoy these. Peace.